Hi, welcome. In this video, I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about the issue of body harnesses. Again, on prior videos, I've talked about the issue about body harnesses not being a good tool. Now, this is a thing I get a lot from people that use body harnesses and say, well, it's the only way I can get my dog to come with me, to accept being on the leash. Now, here's the thing to understand why you have to kind of really begin to think different is understanding this issue about the dog appearing to be better, but within the parameters of actually gaining and having control. Okay, this is a real important point. It's the same thing with why it is that within the home environment, dogs will look balanced. Okay, and this is why it's very common for dog owners to say, "Well, my dog's pretty good, except." Well, the pretty good part is actually the issue about the dog, having control and bad behavior not being on display. This is why this is why the picture itself, relationally, is very deceiving, and even a lot of trainers they don't see this, and so it's really important to understand that when things appear a certain way, oftentimes they're completely upside down because this is why when you look at the methodology, the method of this system, what it does is it exposes the real motives of the dog. It forces the cards on the table. This is why even when I'm doing an assessment, when I step on the scene, I'm actually looking at that. It's one of the ways that through an interaction, I'm getting the owner can see it. And then within the parameters of what's reasonable and the type of influence that's happening, they're able to get a really clear picture of what's really happening and be able to reconcile this whole appearance-based thing. This is why, again, it's all about understanding the issue about, when dogs appear to be better, or just the only way, say, through the body harness that you say, well, it's the only way the dog will accept me being able to get them in certain places. But all you're doing is you're walking on eggshells. I mean, that's the problem, is this whole issue about the dog has control. So, you can take them certain areas, certain places, but at any moment, it could all just bottom out. And oftentimes, it just will. I mean, that's why you're seeking help to begin with, because you know that this is just not working out. But this is the other thing to really look at. This is why dogs will not want to be on the collar. I'm just talking, when I talk about collar too, I just use a flat, straight, normal collar, because it's about understanding how this lines up, aligns relationally. It's about defining even the type of influence as what's reasonable. So, but when you see the dog owner thinking properly and beginning to bring the dog beside them within what's defined as like the heel position, but this system is the staging area to set up follower moments. But you'll see the dog begin to challenge that dog holding control, begin to challenge that like crazy. But then ask yourself the question: is that a reasonable request? Well, absolutely it is. Within, as you reconcile that and say, man, I'm not even doing anything aggressive at all. The dog is just the type of influence that's manifesting. The dog is just going to challenge it like crazy, because that's the problem. Is the dog knows what you're doing, wants to be out in front, positionally, but not just positionally, but relationally. So where the mind goes, the body follows. But again, this is the other thing about the body harness, is the reason you don't want to use it is because it promotes the dog being in control. So here's the problem, is that on a body harness, or even when I step on the scene, in the home environment of the dog owner, with the dog being in control, that owner might get down the street with the dog walking in front of them on that body harness, might make it down, 2 or 3 houses down on the sidewalk before everything bottoms out. Another dog comes out or whatever, things turn into a nightmare. Whereas I won't get out the front door, okay, with me bringing the dog within the follower script, for that dog is on its back, it's challenging like crazy, because again, it's about understanding the dog knowing, well, Dale's trying to bring me into a follower role here, and I'm going to challenge him like crazy because he's trying to step into the role that I own, right? However, here's the thing: you might see some drama, but my walk will be fantastic very, very quickly, and dogs coming out won't be a problem. It's going to be great, because that's the thing. It's understanding about this appearance-based type of narrative. Like, appearances are very deceiving. So it's really understanding you have to walk it back. That's the thing to understand. Once it gets to that level, then you feel like you have to do certain things to get certain places because the dog already has control. But relationally, you'll never fix the relationship that way because you're always in a position of weakness. You're always advocating that position. You're not truly, stepping it back, walking it back, saying, you know what, I need to get this back so that I'm in right relationship, and then everything's great. So anyway, just something to think about when you're looking at certain tools. Yes, you might think you're going to get a better result, or you just have to do things because that's your only option that's left. But really think about that. That's why the picture in the home environment, again, is very deceiving, because dogs that have control will look balanced because they don't have to fight over that which they control. Okay, I mean, they'll be floating around the house, and you'll say, "Man, the dog is pretty good," except, well, what I would suggest is the pretty good part is actually the dog already in control. Okay, and it's not pretty good at all. Actually, the except part's your truth of what's really happening, and the pretty good part is not good at all. It's a deception. Okay, because here's the thing: the methodology in the system, what it does is it forces the cards on the table. Okay, within the parameters of what's reasonable, it exposes the motives of the dog, and it gets people on the right path. That's important. So if you need help with your dog, just contact me anytime. I have various training options, especially help people reconcile this picture and understand how to get on the right path, understand what's happening, so everything makes sense. And the great thing about this system, it helps make sense of what you're doing. It's not just about going through the motions and not really understanding what's happening. In this system, you actually understand what the end game is. You actually understand beyond just doing something why you're doing it, and that's important. So anyway, thanks for watching.